Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Samantha Anderson. I am a freelance artist and teacher hoping to inspire creativity. If you would like more videos like these, please take a second to like and subscribe down below. It really helps in the algorithm of YouTube to help get my videos seen to more people. If you want to receive notifications of when I go live, please make sure to hit the bell and choose all notifications. If you have any questions during or after the class, make sure to pop a comment down below and I will answer it as soon as I can. I'll be leaving timestamps down below so you can skip ahead to the start of class, but I will be sharing announcements as well as supplies, so make sure to stick around for that. If interested in learning more about my classes, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and feel free to check me out on Patreon where I teach exclusive classes to those who support me. In Patreon, I also give traceables for all of my live classes, including this one. Lastly, if you would like to share your work after class with me and others who painted along with us, please head over to Facebook as I have an artist community where you can share your finished painting with us. I'll leave links for all of that in the description box below. Thanks for joining me and let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome back to another live class. Now I know I said in the intro that I have a traceable for this one. That is not true. I have a traceable for most of my classes. This specific one, we do not have a traceable because I just didn't feel like it called for it, and I feel like it would be more confusing with a traceable than without one. So we are just going to have fun and do one without a traceable. I don't think it needs it. So welcome in, say hi. A lot of you have already said hello and are talking, and that's great. Thank you for being here. Kinsey at one point said that, I think it was her, that I have been doing a lot of outer space stuff, and that's kind of the theme of this month, is out of this world. So yes, I am doing another outer space one. I promise that it's just this month. I'm not usually doing all of them, but I don't know, I just felt like having a theme for this month, get a whole kind of outer space theme. So I hope you're enjoying this one, and I'm excited to move on to other stuff next month. I just finished what we were painting in February, and I'm really excited. So if you're not on my Facebook, make sure to go over there and follow me on Facebook, because that's where you will most likely see it first. I do post it on my YouTube community, like on my wall, but a lot of people don't usually see it. So if you want to be in the know of new classes and things like that, please go over to Facebook, because that is where you will see all of my upcoming classes or past classes and things that I'm working on. So yeah, welcome in. Hi, we are doing a swirling nebula. The first thing we're gonna do is paint our whole thing black. So let me go over the supplies that you're gonna need. I did post these on the event on Facebook, as well as I think I posted it on my actual page too, but just in case you missed it. Now, most of these colors, you can choose whatever colors you want. The ones that you will need the most are gonna be your black and your white. And then maybe your yellow for the inside, but the colors that are surrounding the nebula can really be whatever colors you want. I chose pink and blue and like purples and things like that, but if you wanted to choose different colors that maybe match a decor or your favorite colors, then that's totally fine too. And in regards to the canvas size, you can do whatever you have. Like this really would look good on any canvas. I have my regular 11 by 14 canvas, but this would look good on a round canvas, a square canvas, a rectangle. Like it really, you could do it on a heart canvas. It really doesn't. Do they make those? I'm sure they do. But like you can do this on any size canvas. It really does not make a difference. I think just use what you have and go by that. Yeah, you could use it 8 by 10, whatever you need. I'm using an 11 by 14 because that's what I have. That's what I use for my classes. But yeah, don't be limited by what I'm using, as well as the colors. Let me go over colors real fast. Don't be confused by the bottles. I am using full body acrylics. These are from Hippie Crafter. They often send me supplies, and I'm really grateful for them that I don't typically usually have to buy supplies because they send them to me and they're great. We did a Christmas giveaway, and I was able to gift 2 packs to a giveaway winner, which was really awesome. So yeah, that's another reason to follow me on Facebook, because I do giveaways and stuff like that. But yeah, so I have my black and my white. I'm using the bigger ones today, so yeah, my black and my white, because those are the ones I use a lot. So black, white, and then these colors are really up to you. You can use whatever colors you want. I have a medium yellow for like the inner nebula, like the biggest star part of it. And then I'm going to be using my ultramarine blue, or you can use really whatever color you want. You can use phthalo blue, you can use ultramarine blue, you can use a brighter blue. I might use this one. It's called Lake Blue. It's Master's Touch, which I think is, I'm trying to think what Master's Touch is. I think that's Hobby Lobby brand, maybe. But then I also have a couple pinks. I have the Hibby Crafter pink. I also have the Master's Touch pink. It's Rogue. And then I recently just bought this very fluorescent pink at Michael's. I was trying to figure out if I should buy a bright pink for the clouds that we did for my Patreon class, which I will show you in a second. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this for the other classes. I might as well buy it. I'll use it. So I have that really bright pink. If you don't have a really bright pink, that's okay. You can just add like white to your pink, and it will be fine. I just figured I'll probably use it anyway, so I might as well have it. But again, if you want to use different colors, go for it. Put these away. Okay, the other things that you're going to need, obviously, your palette, your paper towel, your water, canvas, all that stuff. I am going to be using a toothbrush. Now, if you don't have a toothbrush for like the stars, the splattering stars, you can use an old stiff brush, or even like you can use I used to use this flat brush for a while. It was fine. You just kind of got to figure out, you know, the ways to which to do it, because each brush is different. I like toothbrushes because they're already stiff, and I don't have to like ruin a brush in order to get it stiff to do that. So I use a toothbrush. But yeah, and then the other thing you're going to need, for the majority of this, you're probably going to be using a sponge. Now, you do not have to use this specific sponge. It doesn't have to be a round one. It can be like a cut up sponge that you bought from the store, like a kitchen sponge that you cut up. Like, honestly, the more kind of like jagged and character that it has, the better. Using something like this is actually a little bit harder, but I usually scrunch it and just do it that way. So it's up to you what you want to use. I would suggest not using the daubers, because that's going to give you these corners of like roundness that you don't necessarily want unless you're doing that for the very, very middle part. I would recommend having something that you can shape and maybe give some extra, like you can, like I can shape this in all different, you know, shapes to give variety as I'm going. So I would either use one of these or something that you've like cut up, and that would actually be good for this one. Yeah, let me go back to just before we get started. We just finished our astronaut in our Patreon, and this is what it looks like. Super happy about it. The clouds were a little bit more on the orangier side, and then I ended up buying this pink that was just really bright, and I was able to brighten up some of these clouds, and I love it. It looks so good. So we did this in my Patreon. It is available for replay, so all of my classes that I do in Patreon are available to watch over. I think this took 3 sessions, so next Tuesday I have, you know, off. I'll probably still do work, but catch up on work that I haven't done. But yeah, this was really fun, and we just finished that one. So if you like astronauts, if you like kind of like that whole fantasy type of stuff, that is what we did for that class. One last announcement before we get started as I kind of clean up my station. This year, my goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think I'm at 7,000 right now. So I'm really hoping to get there. So if you like this content, if you like painting and all that sort of thing, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can get notified of when I do new videos. It really does help. And if you're already subscribed and if you've been subscribed, make sure to like the video and then just share it. The algorithm doesn't actually know if you actually share it, but if you click the share button, it's like, oh, this person is sharing it. So, you know, I mean, you could actually share it. That'd be nice. But if you're just wanting to help with the algorithm, you could just click that. Anyways, that is kind of the end of announcements. Hello, everyone. Hello. I'm not going to go through all of it, but if you do have a question that is pressing, if there are a lot of comments, make sure to @ me, like @SamanthaAndersonArtist, so it'll pop up my name in yellow for me, and it will let me know that like somebody has a question that's directed towards me rather than just you guys talking, which you guys can totally talk. That's great. That's totally fine. But if you do have a question, make sure that you @ me so that it draws my attention to the chat box, so that I can answer your question for the specific class, okay? Yeah, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is paint our entire canvas black, okay? So I'm going to use as little water as I can for this because I don't really want to do a second coat. I want it just to be black, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to mix this up, grab my black, and just grab whatever large brush that you like to use, and go ahead and do your whole canvas. So I'm going to be using my just large filbert. If I had a larger canvas or a larger brush out, I might use it, but I like using this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll get out our other colors as it's drying. A little trick that I like to do is paint all the edges with the exception of the one that I'm holding first so that I don't forget them, because often I will forget the sides if I'm not like paying attention. And plus, with it like this, I can't actually see the other side, so often I'll forget that. But this angle, this camera angle is nice because when I'm looking at my computer, I can see the other side of it, so that reminds me to paint it, which is nice. Before I had it straight on and I would just forget all the time. How have you guys been liking the outer space theme? Have any of you painted with me with the other classes? I really like using the toothbrush for stars. So like doing all the outer space stuff has been really fun for me because I don't know, I just really like doing stars and things like that. So there's a couple ways that you can do, like when you're painting this all in black. You can just put the paint straight on there, but I tend to like to do it in sections because then I feel like it gets, it just goes on better, and then I don't have clumps of paint that I'm trying to like paint out, if that makes sense. And something I like to do after I've done like a third of it, like a section of it, I'll go back over the whole thing and just it makes sure that there's no clumps of paint and that it's all on there evenly. As you're going, I would encourage you guys to make sure that you, especially if you have like lighting on it that's affecting whether or not you can see the whole canvas, make sure that you look at it at different angles to make sure that if there's any white spots that like the canvas is like coming through, that it's not a reflection, that it is actually the canvas, and you'll know that you need to go over that part a little bit better. Because right now, for me, even though it's black on the camera, this whole section right here, for me, is like reflecting the light that's behind me, that's, you know, lighting it up. So for me, sometimes I can't see, like before, I don't know if you saw it, but there was like a bunch of white specks here. I didn't see that until I looked at the, at a different angle. I looked at the canvas and was able to see that I had missed a spot. So as you're doing this, make sure that you kind of pick it up and look at it, and make sure that you got all the pieces, got all the texture. So now that I've done all that, I can come back over here, now that I'm not touching the canvas anymore. I can come back over here and paint the other side. Samantha, could you move your advertisement a little bit? It's disturbing if we can't watch well. I'm not sure what advertising you're talking about. If there's an ad on the screen, you can just click the X button. If anything is covering up what I'm doing, or this box, my palette, or the picture, then it's not my advertising. It's whatever YouTube is doing. So if you can't see something, then it's probably not mine. So that is that. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse out my brush. Does anybody else hate rinsing out like a black brush in clean water? Just like, no, I've tainted my whole water with this black. It's okay, we're not gonna be using much water throughout this class, but that's okay. Okay, so while that dries, okay, good, it's not just me. I just feel like it like taints the water for like the rest of my usage. I could just like go rinse it, but I'm not gonna do that. Maybe I would if I was in class and I need pure water, but let's see. Maybe I should just have 2 waters. I usually have 2 waters for watercolor because I feel like watercolors are more just more sensitive to like colored waters versus like clean water when you're like mixing colors. And you can pretty much get by, but when it's like black, it's like ugh. Yeah, I'll probably start doing 2 waters. Like I have a space up here, just like off screen. Like I have a space. I should just, for those instances that I like ruin my clean water. Okay, so while this dries, we can chat. No, just kidding. Let's go ahead and get out our other colors. I'm going to use, now again, you can use different colors. I'm going to be using my white, yellow, let's see, I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use a bright blue, like this blue, and then maybe add a little bit of the dark blue in it, just to like darken it up ever so slightly. And then I do want to add a little bit of a purple in there. I've been really enjoying the purples in our classes lately. At least like next one I'm really excited for. There's a lot of purple and pink in it. Yeah. So let's see. I'm gonna mix this blue because the pink is pretty much, I might add a little bit of dark pink to it. We'll see. We'll see. We're just gonna have fun. Do you even have any blue left in this? Ooh, it just pooped at me. Okay. I have a little bit of blue, and then I'm going to darken it just a tad bit with this ultramarine blue. So I'm going to mix that up with a palette knife, handy dandy palette knife. If you have a palette like this that is flat, I would highly recommend getting a palette knife so you can mix your paints with it. I use this in probably all of my classes. Unless I don't mix paint, but most of the time. Alright, so that just darkens it a little bit. And then I'm going to get out my pink. I think I'm going to do the dark pink first and then come behind it with the bright pink and like brighten up certain spots of it. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to try to do this dark pink and see how that goes. And if it's too dark and I want to brighten it up, then I'm going to come back with the fluorescent pink and go bam. And then we have, let's get out our white. Let's put it over here. And then I do want to have a slightly like a white yellow. So I'm going to put another little pile right there. And add just a tiny bit of yellow to it. If I have any yellow in here. Here we go. You just gotta hit it enough times. All right. It's not quite dry. This stuff is up here. So I'm just waiting for this stuff down here to dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in my little white section. So let me figure out where the middle is. It's about there. Put a little dot. And I'm just going to figure out how big I want this middle section. This is eventually going to be just all white, but I want to have some sort of like a middle section that I can swirl out from, so having that there will help. Right, I'm going to start by grabbing my small, or my, not my small, my sponge. Make sure all the debris is off of it. And I'm going to, for me, because I have this big one, I'm going to scrunch it so that I'm just working with like the rounded tip, okay? And I'm gonna get a little bit of this pink. I'm gonna start with the pink. And you can get a little bit on your brush, and then I'm just, or sorry, brush, on your sponge. And then I'm just gonna dab it a little bit to kind of move it around so that I'm not just putting big chunks on there. And I'm just going to try to figure out where I want this. And I'm going to trail it all the way around. Guys, already it looks good. Oh goodness. So I'm just gonna kind of go back and forth and dab. Follow it all the way around. And the point is that it is a little bit random. So if you have like pieces kind of like coming out of that section, that's okay. Right? I'm going to come down. I'm gonna kind of hold off on going down there because it is a little bit still wet and I don't really want to get black on this. So I'm going to keep going with my pink. I kind of want some of this pink over here. And it's better to start off with like not enough color than too much color, because then you kind of have to like fix it in a sense. So I'm just kind of putting it on little by little. But at the same time, if you just want to go bold and just do it, just do it. Okay, I'm gonna switch colors and go into my blue. So what I'm gonna do with this is where my pink is. I'm gonna turn it over. So now I'm using the other side. So I have a pink side and I have a blue side. I probably stick purple somewhere over here, but at least I have them, I'm gonna keep them a little bit separate, at least for now. Alright, I'm gonna get out a little bit of my purple. It's a pretty dark purple, which I like. So I'm going to mix a little bit of my blue with it to kind of brighten it up a little bit. And I'm just gonna add these colors kind of wherever I want. I'm still keeping in mind the swirling of it. Like the motion of it. And try not to cover all of your black, okay? Before I move on to the bright pink, I'm gonna go ahead and do my bottom part. I'm gonna add some more pink out here. I'm gonna add a little bit more bright blue out here just to balance the bright blue that's over here. And I'm just kind of just adding it wherever I feel like it needs it. I'm trying to keep it somewhat balanced. I'm gonna come back through with my slight purpley one and kind of darken some of this. Just feel like it's a little bit too bright. All right, gonna come back with a little bit of this pink. I'm gonna mix it together first, just so it's not obnoxiously a different color. Maybe I want it to be obnoxiously a different color. There, I mixed it in with like the other pink. So I'm not gonna add it everywhere, just on certain parts of it. Black is still wet. If your black is still wet, it's probably not wet anymore. But yeah, just wait till it dries. This is a really fast class, so you can take your time. And this portion of it really just, you can take as long as you need to it. Like, you don't have to speed through it. All right, I'm going to get a different part of my sponge. I'm about to get my hands real dirty. But that's okay. I'm gonna grab my yellow and start putting it in the middle here. And just try to make it like as round as possible. I'm just going to trail some of that out. Once we start getting the stars in there, it's going to look completely different. Because right now it kind of just looks like a bunch of, I don't know, sponged things. But I'm gonna come back into my pink. All right, so I'm gonna wait for that to kind of dry just a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna wait for that to dry a little bit. I'm gonna come back over this part because I think I did a little bit too much. Alright, so I'm gonna wait for that to dry so I can come in with the like white part of it. I'm going to get out my my toothbrush, grab some white with my toothbrush, grab a little bit of water. Now if you're not good at making this concoction, it just takes practice. It's just white and a little bit of water. If you can see through it, it's probably, you probably don't have enough white. And if it's not really, if you don't see any bubbles whatsoever, then you might not have enough water. But you can always test it out on your palette and see if you have a good concoction. I like this toothbrush because it does a lot of tiny ones, and it really gives the illusion that there are just a ton of stars in here. But if you do want bigger stars, you can always do a different thing. And if you want like a bunch of stars in a specific spot, just do it over and over and over again in like a small area. You know, little galaxies that are like in certain areas, like that. Alright, so that is pretty much that. Now another thing that you can do, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna put in the big stars in a second. I'm gonna go in for my white. And start putting in the white one. You might have to do like a couple coats of that white, which is totally fine. That's why we're doing it now. rinsing my hand off because it's got a ton of paint on it right now. All right. So now I'm going to take the back of a handle. Okay, I'm going to dip it in that same kind of water concoction and put in some bigger ones. And you get perfect round stars every time. I usually only do 1 or 2 before going back in for more paint, because they start becoming a little less consistent after the first 2. You can also go in a circle and do a couple big ones. And we'll put some sunbursts, like some light rays in there after we get all these big ones in here. And I'm trying to keep most of the big ones in like what would be like the pink part of the nebula. At this point, I'm kind of stepping back and looking at it as a whole and seeing where I might need some more stars. And this really is like a beginner friendly class because I'm literally using the back of the handle to get these perfect little stars. And it's pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to take a break from that, go back in with my white. And I'm going to take a liner brush. If you don't have a liner brush, you can just use a small brush if you want. Go into that same mixture. And if you want to try on a small one first, you can. you can add some little starbursts. So what I do is I start from the middle and then I pull up and then I go back to the middle and I pull down and then I go back to the middle and pull out. So for instance, if I'm doing this big one, go to the middle. Now I'm gonna go back over this with my white. So I'm not really gonna worry about what I'm doing to the center because I'm gonna go over it again. Okay, so I'm just gonna go down from the middle, go down. Now I know from experience that I didn't really have enough water in it. And let me show you. You can kind of see more of the texture, and we don't necessarily want to see the texture. We just want to see the line. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water to this. And I'm just going to, they can be all different lengths. They don't have to be the same length necessarily. As long as they're all going out from the middle. And that they're straight as you can. Oops. That one was not straight. So for anyone who's watching, I did one that kind of wasn't straight, and so I just took a clean brush and just kind of blended it out. So now I'm going to go over to all of the big ones that I created and just do little starbursts. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm going up, down, side to side, and then I'm doing an X. Like all going out from the middle. That's really important, is to go out from the middle. Let me show you this one. I'm going to go up, down, over, side, and then I'm going to go in a cross motion. Just give some of these a little bit more character. On the smaller ones, I'm only going to go up, down, and across. I'm not going to do the extra X on it. I could if I wanted to. Just do little tiny ones. Having flashbacks to face painting, because that's like 101. That's just like all you would do. These little starbursts is what we would call them. So if you're a face painter, you're gonna be real good at this. It just kind of gives that fun burst of light. I'm gonna go back in with my white here. Really cover up that middle part that got all messed up. And there we go. Just gonna slowly kind of work my way out just a tad bit. Add any other starbursts that you want. I'm gonna put a big one over here. I think I need a couple up in the middle top region. Right there. And there you go. And that's pretty much it. You can change up the colors. You can go brighter on your colors. You can go more subtle. But that is pretty much that. I kind of wish I went a little bit brighter with like all the pinks and maybe put more pinks. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. If you did use a sponge, which I'm guessing most of you probably did, if you did use a sponge, make sure that you rinse that out. I'm going to rinse it out in my water right now. But make sure that you rinse it out and wash it out with soap and water, or else it's going to become a one-use sponge. Because it'll just, the paint will dry in your sponge and you won't be able to use it again. So make sure that you take care of your supplies. You rinse that out just like you wash out your, brushes with soap and water. Make sure that you do that with your sponges too, okay? I would love to see your guys's painting. So if you painted with me today or tomorrow or whenever you paint it, make sure you share it with me. I will go ahead and link my Facebook community down below right now. And I would love to see your guys' version of it. Let me go ahead and link that. So there is that. I went ahead and shared that in the chat. It's also in the description box below. Please follow me on Facebook so you can get notified of all the things. And yeah, thanks for joining me. It's kind of weird because it was only an hour class. Usually they're 2 hours, so I feel like there's like more to teach, but there's not. That's the process. Feel free to make more. They're really easy and they're simple, and they're a lot of fun. So make sure you share them with me. I would love to see them, and we will see you next week for our final class for January, and we will see you next time. Bye guys.